We're joined by Andy, who's not from Aberdeen. How are you doing, Andy?
Good, thanks, pal. Yourself.
You're looking well, kid. Pop, pop, bang.
Welcome to my cavern.
I know. How you been?
Not bad, not too bad. Just the usual mad rat race that is life. Uh,
Think, Andy, to Daddy Fudd on that billboard on M1.
that's a belter, eh?
He's
That's a belter. Calvin Klein will be chasing him,
he's on one on M62 as well.
eh?
What is going on there, Andy? Can you help me out here? I need a bit. Help me to help you.
I think Big Daddy Fudd's just spreading himself about, isn't he? He's got plenty to spread about, isn't he? So he's sharing the love.
Sharing something, innit? He's Daddy Fudd the love sponge.
The walrus of love. He's boxing's Barry White, eh? Oh no, there's already a Barry White boxing, isn't there?
Dylan White.
Yeah, he's Barry White, isn't he? Can't have two Barry Whites.
Hey?
We can't have two Barry Whites, but Big Daddy Fudd could still be the walrus of boxing.
Jesus, I mean, where we going? Where we going with all these dads in boxing, print spoken?
It's like, I mean, back in the day, I mean, there's Enzo Calzaghe. He was a real dad in boxing. He did what he should do, didn't he? He was no compromises, no bullshit, straight talker, and a good trainer. Eh? And he did his best for Joe Calzaghe, but he didn't mess it. I quite liked Enzo Calzaghe. I thought he was a bit of a maniac, but he's a brilliant character, wasn't he?
Yeah, he were a good trainer. He very big on hill runs and
Oh,
step
aye.
runs and that. Very very big on fitness.
I remember at one point there was people saying, "Oh, Joe needs to get away from his dad," but why break a winning formula? You know, he's obviously he got on great with his dad, didn't he? So
It was Mickey
I
Duff.
remember,
It was Mickey Duff that were pushing that
was it?
before he signed
What,
with Bricktop.
what does Mickey Duff know? Eh?
Well, I mean, when he went to Bricktop, I think he had 20 odd fights with Mickey Duff, and he had 20 summit fights or something. And then he went to Bricktop, didn't he? But yeah, listen, Joe Calzaghe a great fighter, wasn't he? We can't take
Yeah,
anything away from that. I think if he'd have fought Carl when he should have done in '08, I think he'd have lost. I says because I think his career was more or less done then. But at the peaks, it would have been it'd been an hard fight for the Cobra at the peaks. But you never know, do you? They never fought, did they? But in '08, I think he'd have got beat.
yeah. I think he was. I think he might have beat Froch on points, or Froch might have stopped him late
At the
on, or
peak.
something
Oh
like
yeah,
that. Eh?
not '08. In '08.
In a way,
Well,
um,
they should have
but
fought.
wait,
Go on, sorry.
yeah. I mean, I thought his fight against Hopkins was a dreadful fight, but Hopkins was just a complete spoiler. Eh? The only way Hopkins could negate his speed was to spoil him, and it just that's
He
a
couldn't.
horrible fight.
Hopkins couldn't stay with him in that. The only argument I have for that, look, obviously I'm Team Kobe, right? And obviously I wanted Hopkins to smash him up because he swerved Carl. He took it to the 270th day, the last day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And and then when they moved up to light heavyweight, he didn't even weigh in at 175. He were a few pound under. But my
yeah,
argument were in the people making a case for Hopkins beating him. Yeah, you could make a case, but he spoiled his way through it, and he didn't deserve that win. And
no,
it looked to me like once Calzaghe went through the gears after round six, that he couldn't stay with him. A bit like
no,
Fury with Usyk when he went through the gears. And that's why I always say this to young fighters when obviously I don't say it much now, but when I work for Dennis, I'd always say this. Always remember, if you're fit, you've always got a better chance than them who are not fit. Because a lot of talented fighters used to go through Dennis's books and they used to think that talent would get them through. But let me tell you this, hard work always prevails more than talent. Always remember
yeah,
that. Because if you're in a 100 lap race in a motor car and you've only got petrol for 80 laps, what good are you?
No
Because you're
use.
drowned, aren't you, late on? And Hopkins were drowning after round 6 in that fight. And he kept looking and fouling and messing about. And,
Horrible.
it was a stinky fight. And he's a stinky so and so Hopkins. And that's why he went on for so long, because he just stunk out arenas.
I think that win for Calzaghe got better over time because I think
But,
Hopkins was still a world champion about 6 years later, wasn't
yeah, but they were picking his own fights and buying belts, wasn't he? Because he were partner
he?
at Golden Boy. Let's have it right. Do you know what I mean, Cadby?
Aye,
Yeah, he did well against John Pascal, but who took John Pascal's zero?
Throch, huh?
Yeah, and Pascal then went and took Chad Dawson's zero, didn't he? And he
Yeah.
took Diacono as well, didn't he?
Throch Pascal was a brilliant fight, wasn't
Well, fantastic, mate. I was there ringside. It was Tyson Fury's debut that night.
it? Aye,
Yeah, I was
that'd
sat,
have
I was sat behind all that lot. Big John.
been. You
Eh?
slapping Big John in the back of the head, no? Pinging his ear.
I was looking at it. I was looking at him, and I thought, "Is that him? Is that him?" That's what I was looking at, mate. Is that supposed to be King Kong?
Real fighting man.
Well, Tyson fought well that night. If they put him in with some cream puff and he bladdered him, but yeah, okay. But well, we spoke about Calzaghe there and whatnot. What do you think to the super middleweight division at the moment, Andy?
If it's Canelo the champion, he's still a champion, isn't he, at super middleweight?
Yeah,
So apart from him, if it's not brilliant apart from him, really, is it?
no, it's pony in it.
Hmm. I mean,
Absolutely.
I couldn't probably name you any big names that's in super middleweight. Back in the day, you knew who all the super middleweight top fighters were, didn't you? But now it's kind of I don't know. It's kind of it's gone a bit faceless, isn't it? It's a lack of talent, I would say. Middle and super middleweight, and that was two hot divisions back in the 90s, wasn't
Listen, mate, it was red hot, wasn't it, in '90s? Robin Reed, world champion in '90s. You know,
it?
Calzaghe. You know, people like that.
Yeah.
It was red hot, wasn't it? But James Toney, Roy Jones, they were,
Yeah, aye, all these guys, Sugar Boy Malinga, and even
yeah,
that Italian guy,
hello,
Nardiello. Aye, it was Steve Collins.
yeah.
Um, loads of good fighters. Mike McCallum, he was a
Catley, I think they might have been around about 2000, were they, Glenn Catley?
he
Richie
did well. Glenn Catley, he was a good. He was a kind of overachiever. I always felt. But he's a good
Richie
fighter,
Woodall
tough
beat
guy.
5 world champions.
Richie Wood, he's another one that was about, wasn't he? What do you call him? Oh, his name slipped out my head.
Michael Knight
Throch's trainer. He never won a
beat by
title.
Keith Holmes, didn't he, at
Aye,
middleweight,
yeah.
WBC.
I tell you, another good fighter who was underrated. I always thought back then was Howard Eastman. He was a
Very
hard man, wasn't
underrated, very under. He got robbed in a middleweight fight.
he? William Joppy, wasn't it?
William Joppy got robbed. He
I
was
thought he beat.
Froch, chief sparring partner for that fight.
He was a tough man.
Well, when
I
Froch
thought he.
was a kid, they threw him in with him, didn't they? Eastwood,
That's
Eastman, Howard Eastman, sorry, not Eastwood.
that's a proper learning curve. Getting put him somebody like him.
Yeah, who were the first super middleweight champion in the world?
It's the Scottish guy, wasn't it? Murray
Sutherland.
Sutherland. You told me this. Um,
Do your own work, Andrew.
I remember you told me this.
1984, the super middleweight division started.
That's when it all kicked off.
41 year now, so you could say it's an old school division. Well, it isn't really because it's middleweight old school, isn't it? But
Yeah,
to go from middleweight to light heavy, which I didn't have a problem with really, but it's just promoters that they invent weight divisions, don't they? And to get more money and blah blah blah. They say people are getting bigger and all that, but listen, I'm a firm believer. If Turkish Al Sheikh's going to do what he does, let's go back to 7 divisions, or is it 8, 7 or 8?
yeah.
Solid, you
I
know.
like what he's doing now. He's
Well,
we were skeptical to start with, but it's coming to fruit now. I think what he's trying to do, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. Good luck to him. I don't agree with all that, and I don't agree with all that arse licking and holding hands and all that. It's not me. That I think. But then again, it's not him, is it? It's the shower that go out there. They don't cover themselves in glory, do they? And they know they are.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't want to see that, and then see people coming back to UK and doing interviews saying the words are made of oak.
And I bet he doesn't want them licking his ass either. I bet he probably goes
Some
along
I've
with it.
heard, some of them I can't even repeat on here, and you know half of them, and we won't obviously say it on here, but it's embarrassing that grown men, grown adults, can behave like that. And we've just seen Big Malk doing interview after interview after interview and dropping His Excellency into every interview. Listen, this is a man here, right? And we know what their regime is, don't we? So we don't need to go down that road. So, but my argument is this: Bricktop, when it all started out there, he were outside looking in. He weren't so complimentary about the regime out there. What he Bricktop?
No,
Now look,
he's dining at the top table, isn't
you what?
he? He's dining at the top table, Bricktop now, isn't he?
Oh, he's dining at the top table. He's dining at the top table now, Andrew, because he's got experience, right? And he's been around the game years and he's boxing. I will tip my hat to Bricktop and say, you are boxing. Eddie Hills is not. He's about pound notes. He's an accountant by name, accountant by nature, like his father. You know what I mean?
Bean counter.
Well, talking about beans, Super Bean. Where's he? Why is he not coming out and doing big documentaries about how we beat this cancer? You know, there's not many people beat it. There's no documentaries. Nobody wants to talk about it, do they?
I think
I just,
he's getting behind. He's getting behind boxers in need. I'm sure I've seen a video on. Is it boxing now?
of course, he's
Bean was
going
on
to get
that.
behind boxers in need. Hey, Gary's a multi-millionaire. Everybody's hanging out at the back of him, aren't they? Of course they're going to do. Hey, if they feel quid for him, but people do. Boxing in it. What happens? You know, it's the wild, wild west. You know, if he didn't have a pot to piss in, if we were just some bloke who worked in a factory and he were passing a bucket around and said, put a bit of change in here for boxers in need, people would tell him to piss off, wouldn't they? See where I'm coming from?
Hmm.
Boxing, mate. It's full of takers. That's what people do. They take money. That's what it's all about. Blow the villains in boxing, they take. That's all it is, mate.
What I
Takers and arse lickers.
what I want to know is what's Big Malk doing for his free car? I heard something on one of the Boxing King media ones. I think it was the one with Flex, and Flex has got a free BYD car. So has Johnny Horscock, and so has I think there's three anyway. Big Malk's got one as well. I heard them saying Big
Well,
Malk's got
that's
one of
what
their
they'll
cars.
do. Well, what they'll do, you see, they'll do interviews and all that, and they'll give them one, and that's what you get. This is what these people do. They're not going to go out and get a job, are they? You know, Flex is holding that gym up there to ransom. Everybody's saying in our area. Well, he stopped all amateur fighting, and he up the amateurs. So what
Right.
the gym laid there dormant. Why don't you yank keys and let somebody else take it on? There's people want to take that gym on. That is not their gym. The Ingalls don't own that gym. All they've done, they've had their hand out 50 years taking. Give the keys to somebody else who wants to take it on, Dominic. That's all you've got to do. I'm being professional here, trying to not stick it to you, you big stiff. You know what I mean? Give it to somebody else who wants to take it on, and not you training fat accountants charging them £100 a pop. You know what I mean? Takers. Go and get a job. Don't be a taker. That's what I say. That's why they don't come in my company at shows. You understand? There you go.
And tell them to buy a proper size T-shirt as well.
Yeah, well, no, that's it. Well, he takes them to that. Who is it? It's done what she called. He used to do mine and get them tuck in. Yeah, can you take 2 inch off arms? Make my arms look bigger. Well, why do they do it? Because he's insecure, isn't he? He's
That's it.
insecure. Him. He's insecure, mate. Dominic, you wanted to be a boxer. You had one amateur fight. You were dropped in first round. You were on the floor. And what did you say? Dad, get me the F out of here. That were it. Norton
Help.
amateur. What? I'm telling the truth. So what did he do
talking
after
about
that, Andy? What did he do after that? He were
never
going to
fought
take
again.
that tribute band wearing track pants, you know, like what the village people wear. Well, that's of my children's life. That's a true story. Everybody knows about it. Why don't that copper, PC Gully, ask him about that on his channel? Instead of poncing a living, trying to get free cars off people, knowing they've got to go on a copper's channel every other day and brash yourself off. That's
I
all
did,
it
I did,
is. Well,
I
he
did
does.
hear him talk.
You what?
I did hear him talking about his Fast Eddie song.
Well,
He was
why don't he
talking
talk? Yeah, well,
about
why don't he talk about when he used to go out working men's club wearing track pants? Nobody's talking about that, are they? That's what I want to talk about.
I'll put
Men
that in the
living
I'll
like
put,
not men that are not men. It's not manly, is it? That right? He couldn't go. He couldn't go in certain people's areas where I'm from and wear track pants in a pub because he'd get thrown out. What sort of man wears track pants in a pub and sings? Come on, we're talking
yeah,
about a man here that's got kids. Why would you wear track pants?
wouldn't be me
No,
anyway.
I didn't even know what a pair of track pants were until I watched Sopranos. And you know that guy, Johnny Cakes, who went with Vito? He had a pair on, didn't he? Vito's bloke. Hey,
There
I mean,
there was a
what is all that about? Chap, we're talking about a man here, Mr. Bodybuilder, wearing track pants. Why don't PC Gully ask him? You're not going to do that, are you, PC Gully, you copper?
I'll maybe ask him in his comment section.
They'll let anybody in boxing, won't they? Could you imagine, though, a grown man in his 50s getting up in the morning and saying, do you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to write a song called Looking for Fast Car Eddie because he don't return me text messages about me fighters. Looking for Fast Car Eddie, and I'm going to pay out my own money to produce that song and get it turned into a record. What sort of grown man in his 50s does that about a boxing promoter who ain't throwing you a bone when you want? What sort of grown man does that? Is that bigger arse licking than Sam Jones and Big Malk? I think it is, do you?
Nah, it's on
It's
par anyway, isn't it?
arse licking, in it? And that's why he's got no fighters. Because they're all failing dope tests on his watch. Who's gonna want to go train up there with him? Who? He's had to. All amateurs stopped going, didn't they? Mind he stopped and going. He didn't have time to take the money off him every week and put it in his pocket. We're gym funded. No, no, no. They ran it into the ground, mate. That's why there's nobody up there. Takers, mate. Takers. But nobody's talking about it, are they? Only me. And who can shut me up? Who's going to take me on? Who's going to take me on at me? Because I'm crackers, aren't I? I'm crackers, me. I'm not bothered about them. But do you know what? Why would he want to take me on? And do what? For telling truth? See where I'm coming from? This is
Can't
what you
argue with the
this is
truth, eh?
what you're up against. This is what you're up against. And I'm going to tell the real Flex story on here one day, and you'll have to crawl away then. Pop, pop, bang.
Talking about
Anyway, enough of the Flex roast. How are you doing, Flex? Pop, pop, bang. Give me a call. Come see me, Flex. You know where I'm at. Eastwood Trading Estate, Rotherham. S65 1SJ. You can't miss it. Big, massive billboard of me outside at factory. That's me. Come see me.
did you get your t-shirt yet?
No. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's there. It's there. It's there. I haven't
Got
opened
it.
it. So
Good
brilliant.
stuff.
Right. I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear it tomorrow in a video for you, Andy. Okay. What's it say on it? Andy's Cavern.
Andy's calm, man.
Right. Oh, for those of you who have not subscribed, subscribe to my mate's channel here, Andy's Cavern. He's even got me
If
wearing
it,
his t-shirts. Is it a medium or a large?
it's a medium.
Yeah, it'll fit me. Then it'll make my arms look big like flexors, won't it? If it's just a bit tight, it'll make my little 15-inch arms look good.
You maybe get the
Uh,
sleeves straightened up.
hey, yeah, I know, mate. Well, Flexor's not in shape I'm in though, is he, Andy? He couldn't run with me, kid, could he? I'd run him into the ground, big old Flex. Right, that Daddy Fudd's son Elmer and the Lazy Rhino. Is it going to happen? The Lazy Rhinos I don't know. I don't know if he's in denial about what happened. He's won. He hadn't won. He's won. He hadn't won. He don't want to piss anybody off, does he? He's that type of kid, David. Uh, do you think David Allen beat Elmer?
Yeah,
I do. I thought he beat him. I thought it were 5 rounds each, but he had a 10-8, didn't he?
yeah.
It wasn't really a hard fight to score. It was a fight of two halves, wasn't it, really? And with David's 10-8, how could they get it so wrong? I don't know. Uh, I want to see the rematch. I want to see David paid well and settled and out the sport because he's been knocked about and that, hasn't he? Through his own fault, being stupid, not being fit, and taking fights that he weren't ready for. So it'd be nice if he can finally get a big, big payday and set his son up because he's not going to get a job, is he? You know what I mean? So that's what I want to see. I think he's entitled to it. He spilled his guts on Eddie's shows. Let's have it right. We're overmatched. Dylan Whyte. Who was that other one? You know, Lewis Ortiz. He was the WBA interim world champion. Him, number one
Mm.
ranked. They put a bit of a kid in with him, didn't they? Eddie,
Shocking, eh?
Eddie Hills should be ashamed, but David should hang his Eddie in shame for taking that fight as well. Should really, and then going and doing his poking in Jenkins Casino. Craziness. But he'll learn from that, and I hope he gets his day in the sun. He might not get a belt, but it'd be nice to see him get out with some money, wouldn't it, and set up. Set up.
Has to happen there. It'd be a travesty if
Got
that
to
rematch
happen.
doesn't happen. It's got to happen there.
Got to happen. And do you know what? They can't keep protecting Elmer any longer. But if they don't, or if David's been told, look, stop pushing this fight, this rematch, but we'll look after you, because that goes on in boxing, you know. Now we
That's
don't
shit,
we
isn't it?
don't know that's gone on, but the fact that David's not screaming for a rematch, I'm starting to think that he's been got at. He's looking that way.
Yeah.
But if he hadn't, he hadn't. Maybe he might come out on his YouTube channel and speak. But I think he deserves the rematch or he deserves a run of fights where he gets money because he was broken hearted when he didn't get that. When Eddie didn't match the bar offer. And he looked like he were going to beat Wilderness, didn't it? Fat as a pig Michelin man. But he's come back and he's put a good performance in and won, but didn't get the decision. So he deserves his day in the sun. Now, I know he's had more chances than anybody, and but he's got to be put out there in Saudi and given £500,000, in my opinion, to fight him. The same 400 grand, he needs half a mil. Because by the time everybody's had a slice of cake, tax man and all that, it's not good, is it?
He'll end up with 200,000 or something.
Well, I don't know if they're going to do it if they take care of tax out there. I don't know what goes on, but I do know that I have seen fighters paid certain amount of money over years, and I've said what we ended up with. And when they've told me, I'm like, wow, it's
I
awful.
remember I remember years ago seeing a pie chart in the Ring. I think it was the Ring magazine or Boxing Monthly or something at the time. I used to get all the magazines at that time. There was a pie chart of Mike Tyson's rematch with Vander Holyfield, and out of $30 million or whatever at the time, he got fined $6 million, I think it was, for biting Holyfield's ears. I think he ended up with 6 million. All the other leeches hanging off it, and all roads led to Don King. All that money that should have been Tyson's went to Don King or the tax man. It was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Well, Mike Tyson got a £3 million fine, didn't he, for Holyfield's ear roll?
Was it 3 or 6? I thought it was.
Oh,
I thought it was maybe 6. Maybe it was.
that's
Maybe he
what.
ended up with 6, and it was
Yeah.
3. But
Well, after everybody, listen, you know that Don King. You heard what I said today, didn't you? You watch it, like,
uh,
did early. I forget who it were now. Don King, right? Let me tell you this. He's been awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award by Ring Magazine. This is an absolute scumbag that's been rinsing fighters for years. And when Clinton Woods fought his last fight on a Don King show against Tarvis Cloud, he got paid absolute peanuts, right? Absolute peanuts for challenging for his old IBF world title, right? And he nearly pulled it off at end Clinton as well. Now, Don King's an absolute scumbag. He murdered 2 men, in his life. He got a
kicked him
pardon.
on to death.
Yeah,
Fight, didn't
kicked a man to death, and he got that charge done from murder to something else. And the other one, I think he shot somebody dead, didn't he, or something? That were murder, and he got that what they call pardoned or something from local government. That he were running numbers and all that. An absolute scumbag bully, right, of a man. And he's a shell of a man now, but they give him a lifetime achievement award. All he's done is ponce off fighters all his life. He ripped Ali with £1 million and he gives somebody 50 grand. Ali signs something to say that he wasn't going to push him for money or sue him and that. He ripped Mike Tyson off. And he's just right ripped everybody off. He is an absolute scumbag. But what bothers me is, when Gerald McClellan were on the floor, he stepped
Mm.
over him to celebrate with Ben, didn't he?
Uh,
Now
just
that's bad,
oh,
but what
yeah.
people are forgetting is this, right? This is Don King for you. Now the McClellan failed a brain scan in America, so they said, right, we're going to go over to England. You're going to step up a weight to protect your brain because your brain, when you make weight, the last bit of weight that comes out your body, you might notice when I was dehydrated, when I went well, the side of my head it looks all dinted in, doesn't it? 'Cause
Yeah.
you're drained, aren't you?
What are they?
Yeah, well, I were like 8 stone 12 on, and they couldn't get anything in me. They said, if you don't drink, or if we're going to force feed, but you're going to die. So I was like, all right. So I was like 8 stone 12. I had an head like a skull, and there were no round my brain. I had all scans and that, and I now realise. And what he did, the doctor, he sort of gave me a little poke on the side of my head. He said, if you don't get anything in your brain soon, he poked me, and it felt like somebody had twatted me. And I was
Mm.
like, wow. And I thought, I can imagine. I can imagine what fighters go through. So McClellan stepped up a weight. We only put £5 on. He were 165 on scales. Ben were 168. Now he'd failed a brain scan in America. In Britain, they passed him to fight, right? And he got done, didn't he? Ben done him, didn't he? And it's very
Uh,
similar to Julian Jackson, who were blind in one eye, failed a test in UK, but Barry Hearn got him past in Spain, right? Now, and Julian Jackson, they thought they were going to get this world title for Bomber Graham, didn't they, in Spain? But what happened were Bomber Graham got knocked out, didn't he, and four of his teeth. Bomber told me this story. Were embedded in his gum shield. Julian Jackson put him on button moon, didn't he?
uh,
He could really punch, couldn't he? So could McClellan. Now, where's McClellan now? He's in a wheelchair, isn't he? Where's Julian Jackson? He's pretty bashed up and that, and he's blind in one eye,
uh,
isn't he? Where's Barry Hearn and Don King? They're multi-fly swimming in Cho
yeah.
Chang. You know where I'm
Yeah.
coming from? Now, promoters, their job's to make money. Fighters are pieces of meat. And the sooner these fighters realise it, the better. These promoters are not your friends. You are there like, as cattle to line their pockets. But people think they're the friends. You all seen Sonny Edwards, aren't you, running about, aren't you? Oh, Eddie, me and Eddie are tight, this and that, blah, blah, blah. He is not your friend. You are no use to him now. He will dig you up when he needs you down the line, you cretin. See where I'm coming from? In 20
That's
years, when Sonny Edwards has not got a pot to piss in, and Eddie Earns had a facelift and an air transplant, and he's looking the business and had his second teeth job, and he's about 66 year old, he won't give Sonny Edwards the steam off his shit. See where I'm coming
that's
from?
yeah.
And that's boxing for you. That's the cold, harsh reality. People need to listen when I speak regarding that. They are not
That's
your friends.
that's why Frank Goldfeather, 79-year-old guy, does all the coaching stuff. He said he was a boxer when he was younger. He was an amateur. I think he had like 200 fights and won 175 of them. He's a Scottish champion and he fought all over Europe and that. He went to turn pro when he was 19 or 20, he said. And then he went to some seminar thing. I think it was in Glasgow. I'm sure he said, I think I'm right on this. Uh, but he said he realised then the only people making money were the corrupt managers and promoters. So he decided against turning pro and became a journalist.
Well, Manny
So,
Stewart refused to train Gerald McClellan for that fight in England. He says, no, you shouldn't be fighting. So he ended up
mm,
that Stan Johnson in corner, who's about as
uh,
much use as a chocolate fireguard, Scooby Doo job. No good.
it
He ended up
was
in.
Admiral's that one, eh?
Well, even I watched that fight in Nick on remand. I watched it in Nick in Donkey Chaz that in '95, beginning of '95, and
It's a brutal fight, yeah. Brutal fight.
brutal. But I could see he were blinking. McClellan, I see he's got a problem with me. Do you remember when he started blinking?
His mouth hanging open with a gum shield, eh? The gum
Well,
shield sticking out.
what happens is when a fighter's struggling in ring for breath, he needs to get more air into him, so they start opening the mouth, don't they? That's when the other
Yeah.
fighter thinks, it's knackered here. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So that's why they say bite down on your gum shield. You bite down on it. Just try and breathe through your nose. But if your nose is blocked with blood clots and all that, you've got to breathe through your mouth, haven't you? That's how they start breaking
Yeah.
you down. You see where I'm coming
Yeah.
from? So, okay. So we spoke about Gerald McClellan and how Don King stepped over him. Well, he's been given a Lifetime Achievement Award. He is an absolute scumbag. And when are these people, like Turkey Al Sheikh, Ring Magazine, and all that, if they're supposed to be putting boxing in a good light and that, why is this scumbag getting Lifetime Achievement Awards? Same with Bob Arum. He don't care for nobody. He's been done. He had 100 grand fine, hasn't he, for what he got involved with IBF years ago and all that. You can go on forever about them. Now, that Gerald McClellan fight, who promoted that? That were at Docklands, wasn't it? Who owned the Docklands at the time? Bricktop, didn't he?
Mm.
Bricktop were an owner there. They put that fight on. They did everything by the rules because the board passed it, but nobody were mentioning it in press, were they, about McClellan, why he couldn't fight in America. And nobody mentioned it in UK, did they, about Julian Jackson?
Nah.
Fought in Spain. A few people mentioned it, but it weren't big noises when they went over there to fight a one-eyed man. But he ended up flopping Bomber Graham anyway, didn't he? But
I
these
reckon Joe I reckon Joe Frazier fought for a long time with one eye as
one
well, eh?
eye he did, yeah, correct. And it's like
Mm.
I said, Barry Hearn is in Hall of Fame. Well, why? How can he be in Hall of Fame when if we've only got to go and read the Steve Collins transcripts about what were going on behind the scenes with that carry on and the Bomber Graham Julian Jackson fight. But yet, they're giving these people effing awards. What's going on here? What's going
What
on?
Hall of Fame? What Hall of Fame is he in? Epstein's Hall of Fame.
Well, he's in Canastota, isn't he? Do you want to go on to part two, kid?
Okay, mate, give me five. I'll be right with you.
Go on then. I'll see you at call it 5 to then, yeah?
5-2, good
Yes,
man.
mate. Pop, pop,
Cheers,
bye.
pal.
Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. We'll see you on part two. We will get down to some real hardcore boxing chat. Okie dokie. Anybody offended by part one? I don't care. Come and see me. I'm not hard to find.